Well, bonjour, whiskey lovers. It is me, your whiskey coach, back at it again for review number 84. As you can see, I'm tapping back into my love for Canadian whiskey, where it all began for me. In tonight's episode, Crown Royal Noble Collection limited release 13-year-old Blender's Mash. So you may be asking yourself, why the Blender's Mash, quote unquote? Well, here's the story. So the TTB, this was originally called, ready for this? So first of all, let me show you this package. This is the third release in the Noble Collection. First was the Cornerstone, then the wine cask finished, and now this guy. Same matte, cool, like cylindric tube. But watch this. You ready for this? Ready? Ready? Gotta get my hand out of the way. Oh, what's back here? What's that? What's that say? What's that say? 13-year-old bourbon mash. They literally just stuck a sticker over top the original canister. They figured they probably spent a ton of money in packaging, so they weren't going to buy new packages. It'd be much cheaper to buy stickers. So the TTB, and I'm assuming some of the folks in the bourbon industry kind of raised holy hell when Crown Royal dare use the word bourbon. Even though they weren't calling this a bourbon per se, they were saying bourbon mash, because basically what one of their 5 whiskeys in their blend that creates Deluxe, which is the Crown Royal that you see on the shelf and most folks know as their standard offering. One of those 5 whiskeys that they blend is basically a bourbon. Now, can it be a bourbon? No. We all know it can't be a bourbon. It's not U.S. manufactured. Okay. But it's new charred oak. In this case, it's 60% corn, 36% rye, and 4% malted barley. In theory, it's meeting the criteria, but it's 130 miles north of the U.S. border in Gimli, Manitoba, off the shores of Lake Winnipeg. So therefore, they had to change the name. So it is now Blender's Mash. So let's give a quick little read on the back of the packaging, shall we? Crown Royal Noble Collection is a series of limited annual releases that celebrates the skilled craftsmanship of our distillers and blenders and their dedication to the art of creating extraordinary whiskey. Sorry I'm reading fast, but that's just minutia. The third expression in the Noble Collection is a rare stock of Canadian whiskey made with a mash bill of 60% corn, 30% rye, and 4% malted barley. I just went over that. It is one of the 5 unique recipes. I just went over that. Carefully aged in new charred oak for no less than 13 years. The complexity of this liquid intensifies with the aging process, bringing out richer and deeper notes of caramel and fruit. This remarkably smooth and layered whiskey is hand-selected from our reserve stock, revealing its noble roots with every sip. Amber in appearance, this whiskey has notes of creamy vanilla, orchard fruits, subtle tusted oak, full-bodied palate, and long, complex finish with hint of toffee. Smooth by nature, unhurried by time. We are honored to share this exceptional whiskey, and we hope you enjoy it. So that's it. What I like about this offering is, instead of on the first one, the the Cornerstone Collection, it came out at 80.6 proof. On the wine cask, it came out at 81 proof. This one, they actually bumped up to 90 proof, which I like, because if you're going to do a bourbon, you don't have to do it at 90 proof. You can actually have a bourbon at 80 proof. See your Basil Hayden's. But they did a 90 proof, which is kind of more representative of a bourbon. So, same very nice purple pouch here. And I love the bottle. Love the bottom, the crystal decanter style. Again, they threw a sticker on top of that. Really nice cap and a tag there. Just a really nice looking bottle to sit on your bar at a pretty affordable price. To me, the packaging looks like $100, $100 plus. This is about a $60 bottle. Oh, since we're in Canada, I'm using the Canadian Glencairn, which I just heard a really cool podcast from the founder of the Glencairn glass, you know, this guy. And he was talking about the creation of the Canadian Glencairn. Fascinating story. Apparently it was commissioned by the LCBO, the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, and they wanted a Canadian version to kind of mimic, from a shape standpoint, kind of what the traditional Glencairn had in terms of the nose, and they wanted to open up a little bit more, and they also wanted to be bigger so you could add ice. So that's why the Canadian is much larger, and it's got that cool little maple leaf there on the bottom. So again, I try to provide a little anecdotal knowledge from time to time, and that is tonight's nugget. All right, so again, guys, as you can see, this is the first time I've cracked into this one. I have read that this is the oldest age-stated Crown Royal in their history, but I know that not to be true. I happen to own two 15-year-old bottlings from the 80s and 90s, one with a kind of a vinyl plastic sticker and one with more of a paper label. So some of the information you read is just wrong, period, at the end, and this is the case. But this is a 13-year-old, basically, like I said, basically it's a 13-year-old bourbon, except it's aging created in Canada, so we can't use that word. But it's $60 if you're talking about a 13-year-old bourbon in today's age. Okay, sign me up. So here I am, giving this a test. I can't believe I've owned this bottle for, hell, 6-8 months maybe. Well, I don't know how long it's been out now, but several months, I guess we'll safely say. I haven't tasted it yet. Heard some good things. It's much more muted, much more subtle, much more fruity, much more gentle, much more candied on the nose than you would anticipate from a bourbon type whiskey. Even then I mean, it is a high rye at 60% corn, 36% rye. That's a pretty high rye. I'm getting some of that. This could be my imagination, but I feel like I can tell that it's been aged in a slowing age or a slower aging climate, or how do I put this? In a climate that would be conducive to slower aging. How about that? You know, you're not getting into 105, 110 degrees in Gimli, Manitoba. So it's probably not going into that deep into the staves of those barrels, into that, creating that red line quite as deep into the new charred oak. So it feels like it's a little mellower. Here goes. Really dances across the palate there. Getting lots of spices. Christmas spices, cinnamons, fig Newton a little bit. Weird on the back. Cleanse my palate here. Man, it's a unique dram. Allspice, toffee, like a brown sugar, maybe. But everything is mellow. Nothing jumps out at you. Nothing's punching you in the face. Gotta say, it doesn't taste like a 90 proof 13-year-old Kentucky bourbon would. It just doesn't. It is its own unique flavor. A little bit surprised by that. A little bit. I would expect it to be a little bit different, but maybe not quite as different as it is. From a score standpoint, I will give the Noble Collection 13-year-old Blender's Mash a 7.1. 7.1 is the score this evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining me on my journey north of the border. Again, like I said, every once in a while I seem to have to tap into those Canadian whiskey roots, which kind of got me into this game so many years ago. And as always, and until next time, glasses up, eh?